Hello, and thanks for stopping by. Today I'm at Chalfont and Latimer Station, which, being on the far northwestern tip of the Metropolitan line, is just one of 3 London Underground stations to be located in Buckinghamshire, the other 2 being Amersham and Chesham. You can catch National Rail trains to Marylebone from here too, so the area is well connected to the capital. Having said that, it does feel rather rural around here. If you venture out onto Amersham Road, you'll soon find yourself surrounded by fields, and it's out this way that you'll find the tiny village of Cheney's, which happens to be home to this farmhouse. Although it may look unassuming, this building does in fact harbour an intriguing secret, for it's owned by the Prop Store, an auction company who specialise in sourcing and selling authentic items of entertainment memorabilia, most notably original film and television props. In November 2022, the Prop Store staged an auction lasting several days at the British Academy of Film and Television Arts on Piccadilly, in which over 1,500 pieces were up for sale. And, just before the event, I was lucky enough to be granted a tour of the Prop Store's warehouse at Cheney's, where I was able to get up close to a number of lots, pretty much all of which are icons of popular culture. In this video, I'd like to share my experience with you. So, let's go and see what treasures we can find. The first item I encountered was this full-size Dalek, which is pretty intimidating in person. Exterminate! This example was used in a 2010 episode of Doctor Who, entitled Victory of the Daleks. As well as TV and movie props, the auction also sold a wide array of collectibles related to the history of pop music. This hat and striped blazer next to the Dalek, for example, were worn twice by Paul McCartney when he was in the Beatles. The first being for a Morecambe and Wise show, which is filmed at Elstree in December 1963, and the second for a charity gig held at the London Palladium in July 1964. Another Beatles-related item is this distinctive collarless grey suit, which defined the Fab Four's early look and was designed by Douglas Millings, a tailor who was based on Old Compton Street in Soho. This example was custom made for John Lennon's waxwork model, which is unveiled at Madame Tussauds in March 1964. The outfit on the right-hand side was worn by Whitney Houston in the 1992 film The Bodyguard, and the long coat on the left belonged to Liam Gallagher. He wore it at an Oasis gig held at Finsbury Park in the summer of 2002. Sticking with Oasis for a moment, this collection of guitars along the front were used in the official video for 1995's Wonderwall. And here are the original handwritten lyrics for that song. Our first major movie item is this rugged-looking coat, which was used in the 1982 film Blade Runner. It was worn by the Dutch actor Rutger Hauer in his role as Roy Batty, the man-made replicant who's been hunted by Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford. The coat was hidden away in someone's wardrobe for many years, and is now a highly prized piece. One of the most striking items in the cell was this Superman costume, which was worn by Christopher Reeve for this series of films made between 1978 and 1987. The outfit contains elements from each of those movies. There are more Superman items here too. This lump of kryptonite, the element that weakens Superman, was used in the third film from 1983, in which it's covertly presented to the superhero by the bumbling Gus Gorman, who was played by Richard Pryor. We'll return to Superman, along with many more original props from other cult films, in just a moment, but before we do, I'd like to introduce you to this video's sponsor, MyHeritage. As you can probably tell, I adore history, especially when it has a social angle, and I found that exploring your own ancestry is a wonderful, and often very moving way of connecting with the past. MyHeritage makes this process both fun and easy. You begin by building your family tree. Here's mine. It's still a work in progress, but as MyHeritage offers access to over 18 billion records, it's sure to grow pretty fast. As Europe's #1 family history service, MyHeritage is trusted by 90 million users. That's a lot of people, so it's a safe bet that you'll find someone out there that you had no idea existed. I've already found myself falling down several rabbit holes, and that's because the level of detail available is breathtaking. The collection catalogue, for example, contains several thousand databases from across the world, covering everything from birth, marriage and death directories, to censuses and military records. This particular database, for example, lists passengers who travelled between Ireland and New York in the mid-19th century. My surname's Lawden, which comes from Cork in Ireland, so type that in and a few matches flash up. Mary Lawden? John Lawden? I wonder where this could lead. Furthermore, MyHeritage features some incredible photo enhancement tools. Let's try them out with this image. This gentleman is Harry Hewish, an ancestor of mine who fought in the Great War. That crease in the corner has always annoyed me. It's been there as long as I've known this photo. So let's use the repair tool to smooth it out. And now let's use the enhance button to sharpen things up. And finally, let's add a bit of colour. Pretty incredible, isn't it? You can bring old photos to life even further by animating them. Here's a group of my grandfather's friends, taken in a pub somewhere in Kilburn in the 1950s. Now watch this. You can enjoy all of these incredible features by signing up to MyHeritage for a 14-day free trial. And if you decide to continue your subscription, you'll get a 50% discount. Furthermore, make sure you don't miss the chance to get a DNA kit, which MyHeritage are currently offering at their lowest ever price. You'll find the link to MyHeritage in the description below. Thanks for watching, and now back to the video. Returning to Superman, this costume was worn by the villainous Ursa, played by Sarah Douglas. These boots were worn by Ursa's counterparts, Non, played by the former boxer Jack O'Halloran, and General Zod, who was portrayed by the legendary Terence Stamp with pantomime-like gusto.
I'm the president. I'll kneel before you if it will save lives.
It will. Starting with your own.
When Christopher Reeve landed the role of Superman, it was decided that he needed beefing up, and so he turned to the bodybuilder and weightlifter Dave Prowse, who owned a gym on Marshalsea Road in Southwark, which happened to be just around the corner from the unusually named Disney Street, which I detailed in a recent video. I'll leave a link to that below in case you missed it. Dave Prowse was an actor too, his most notable role being one of cinema's greatest villains, Darth Vader, who he embodied in the original Star Wars trilogy. This pair of leather gloves formed part of Darth Vader's menacing costume and were used in the first film from 1977. At the auction, they fetched just over £256,000. Other Star Wars items include this Tauntaun head from 1980's The Empire Strikes Back, which ended up being displayed in a Planet Hollywood restaurant for many years, and this Ewok mask, made for Return of the Jedi, which was released in 1983. Whilst we're on the subject of space, here's another impressive item of music memorabilia. The staff at the prop store, who I must say were nothing short of wonderful, brought it out especially for me. This fragile looking garment was worn by David Bowie, in the guise of his astronaut alter ego, Major Tom, in the music video for Ashes to Ashes. Ashes to Ashes came out in 1980, although this costume is quite a bit older than that. It is in fact a cooling suit, which was designed in the 1950s to be worn as part of an outfit used by RAF pilots flying at high altitude. Another classic film franchise set in space are the very scary Alien films, and there are quite a few pieces from that series here. This cap is from the first film, which came out in 1979. It was worn by Harry Dean Stanton, who played Brett, one of the ship's engineers. As you can see, the hat bears the logo for the USCSS Nostromo, the space freighter that falls prey to the seemingly indestructible alien. The sequel to Alien was the highly acclaimed Aliens, which came out in 1986. This alien egg, which you really wouldn't want to hatch in front of you, is from that movie, as are these two Colonial Marine uniforms, and this pulse rifle, which was built around a Thompson machine gun, so you'll probably be relieved to hear that it has been deactivated. This weapon was also repurposed for Alien 3. This blue jumpsuit is from the second Alien film. It was worn by Bishop, the android played by Lance Henriksen. Perhaps most impressive of all is this model of a dropship, nicknamed the Bug Stomper, which deploys Ripley and the Colonial Marines down to LV-426, a moon containing a base which has been overrun by aliens. Nowadays, of course, such a sequence would be created using CGI, but in the 1980s, you had to cobble a real model together, and this really is a work of art. Aliens was directed by James Cameron, whose first success came in 1984 with The Terminator. The sequel to that film, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, was released in 1991, and at the time was the most expensive movie ever made. This leather biker's jacket, riddled with bullet holes, is from Terminator 2 and was worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger in his role as a T-800, the figure sent back in time to protect John Connor from the more advanced T-1000. The jacket was formerly owned by Linda Hamilton, who played Sarah Connor. This Terminator arm is from the same film. It was used in the opening sequence, in which we see the future Los Angeles, or what's left of it anyway, acting as a post-nuclear battleground where the machines of Skynet are waging war against a brave band of humans. Moving away from science fiction, we have this more traditional firearm, which was brandished by the Preacher, played by Clint Eastwood in 1985's Pale Rider. This piece can be considered an historic artifact in its own right, as it's an antique Remington New Model Army revolver, a type of Old West shooter which was manufactured in the 1860s and 70s. Two other items with a more historical twist are these Roman-themed props, which were used in Gladiator. They are worn by Russell Crowe as General Maximus. The helmet appears in the opening battle scene, whilst the armour was worn by him whilst fighting at the Colosseum. It's given to him by Proximo, played by the ultimate Hellraiser, Oliver Reed, who died during filming in Malta in 1999. Here are a few more bits and bobs. This unusually long object is a car horn, that car being none other than Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And this item is from another children's film, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's the acceptance letter which invites the young wizard to Hogwarts School. These playing pieces and accompanying board are from the 1995 film Jumanji, which starred the greatly missed Robin Williams. And this Muppet was used in the 1980s television series Fraggle Rock. Many such Muppets were made in London, as Jim Henson's so-called Creature Workshops were once based in Hampstead and Camden Town. There are some clapperboards lying around too, namely from 1976's The Omen and 1981's An American Werewolf in London, both of which were extensively filmed on locations in and around the capital. Another horror film shot in London, and perhaps one you wouldn't expect to have been, is 1987's Hellraiser. A house on Dollis Hill Lane was used, which I guess means the portal to a demonic dimension was opened up somewhere between Neasden and Cricklewood. This head is a cast of Doug Bradley, who played Pinhead, and was made during the production of Hellraiser. The prosthetics and nails you see here were used in the film. Just below Pinhead are this set of ornate razors. They're from the 2007 adaptation of Sweeney Todd, in which the role of the murderous Demon Barber of Fleet Street is taken on by Johnny Depp. These razors were crafted by the prop master David Balfour, and the images embossed upon the handles are based upon illustrations by William Blake. On a lighter note, this medallion and pair of spectacles were worn by Mike Myers in his role as the international man of mystery, Austin Powers. Austin Powers is of course a parody of the James Bond franchise, and there are quite a few Bond items here too. This helmet, complete with a portable cine camera, is from 1967. It was worn by Sean Connery in You Only Live Twice, when he flies an auto-gyro over Blofield's hidden base. When the film came out, this prop was also used to promote the film by being displayed in the window of Selfridges on Oxford Street. Also Bond related is this stunt tyre, which was used in 1987's The Living Daylights. It's made from fiberglass and contains small holes through which spikes could be deployed. The pistol and silencer, meanwhile, were used by Pierce Brosnan in 1995's GoldenEye, and the knife below was used in 1969's On Her Majesty's Secret Service by George Lazenby, who only got to play 007 once. Last, but certainly not least, I'd like to show you a few items from the much beloved Back to the Future franchise. This license plate was attached to the DeLorean time machine. You can see it when Doc Brown first tests his invention in a Twin Pines parking lot. As the car vanishes into time, the plate drops off and spins to the ground. These hoverboards are from the second film, as is this key object, the Gray's Sports Almanac, which contains a complete list of sports statistics from between 1950 and 2000. Marty McFly purchases this book in the year 2015 with a view to taking it back to 1985, where he'll use it to place bets which he can't lose. But when the book falls into the bullying Biff Tannen's hands, it creates a nightmarish alternate history ruled by corruption and greed. This poncho is worn by Marty in Back to the Future 3, which is set in the Old West, as were these rather colourful cowboy boots, although Marty never wears them, as they supposedly end up getting eaten by a bear. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look around the prop store. As I'm sure you can tell, there are a lot of items here, so much so that it was impossible for me to cover everything. However, if something I didn't mention caught your eye and you'd like to know more, please feel free to ask me in the comments about it, and I'll do my best to provide you with the relevant info. I'd also like to take this opportunity to reiterate just how great the staff at the prop store were in helping me make this video. With the auction fast approaching, they are very busy, yet they couldn't have been more welcoming and informative. They really are a lovely team. I'll leave a link to the prop store's website below, because, believe it or not all of the film props they sell are of such high value. They have some very affordable items starting at just a few pounds, which are available to purchase right away. I'd be interested to hear your own thoughts on these iconic props. Which one was your favourite? Please be sure to let me know below. If you enjoyed this video and haven't done so already, then I'd really appreciate it if you could please consider subscribing to my channel, as this, along with clicking the bell icon to receive notifications, will ensure you don't miss out whenever I publish a new Rob's London episode. And it goes without saying, of course, that it'd be great to have you along. If you're feeling extra generous, you can also support me via my Ko-fi page, or alternatively, by using the YouTube thanks button, which appears below the video as a heart icon. Any donations are of course greatly appreciated, and play a big part in helping me make videos. If you're interested in merchandise, I have an Etsy store too, Rob's Online Designs, where you'll find an array of hand illustrated mugs, featuring designs of tube trains, taxis, buses and so on. I'll leave a link to that, along with my Ko-fi page, in the description. For now though, thanks again friends, stay well and please be sure to stay tuned.